This episode of the podcast is brought to you by KC Consulting.
It seems like nearly every day you hear about another cannabis brand's account being shut down by Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube for violating its quote-unquote community guidelines. Since cannabis is still illegal at the federal level, the big social media platforms all have policies that limit social media marketing and advertising options for cannabis businesses. Fortunately, KC Consulting, the premier social media marketing agency based in Dallas, Texas, is committed to helping cannabis companies navigate through the uncharted waters of social media marketing and advertising. The agency specializes in strategy, content creation, channel management, paid advertising, graphic design, and SEO services that will take your social media marketing efforts to the next level. Give them a call at 972-310-7471 or shoot them an email at social@kcconsulting.co to schedule a free discovery call with the agency's owner and lead consultant, me, Kevin Carrillo. Again, the number is 972-310-7471 and the email is social@kcconsulting.co. Add value, not noise. KC Consulting. Hello, my fellow people of the plant. Kevin Carrillo here, and welcome to another episode of the Cannabinoid Connect podcast. My guest today is Rico Lamitte, founder at CANiVISION. We're rolling. No, so you said the last time you were in Dallas, it snowed. So that must have been during the Super Bowl, right? In 2011?
Shit, that is longer than I thought. It might have been. So it was, let's see. It was the last time Northwestern bowl game. Was that that had to have been the Cotton Bowl, right?
You're right. It's a Cotton Bowl, yeah.
And
at Fair Park.
Dude, it was 2011, the Ticket City Bowl.
Damn. See, because I was thinking that was really unusual when we got that snow. And that's when I first moved to Dallas. And I don't think it snowed since. So, but it's supposed to this Saturday, like I was saying, which is really
one of those years, right?
Bro, it's like 2020, 2021 now. Like anything goes. Like, there's no boundaries, It's crazy.
Jesus.
I know. But anyway, Rico, I'm happy to have you on, man. For those listening, and I don't want to butcher your last names. Go ahead and tell me is it Lamitte?
It's Lamitte. So
Lamitte. Got it. Rico Lamitte. Lamitte, the founder of CANiVISION and two-time TED Talk alumnus, right?
I emceed one, and I actually
have a meeting.
So you get to see my baby girl too. So
oh,
Zora, emceed one, and I actually spoke at
she
one.
is precious. What's her name?
Zora, the Zozo, my pandemic princess.
Little Zozo, the pandemic princess. That's an awesome name. She'll live that the rest of her life. That'll be the nickname.
Seriously, when I'm podcasting or like recording and whatever over here, I usually keep her in a little DJ booth. She actually has like a DJ booth. Like, right.
That's so awesome, man.
So yeah, it's like a.
Oh yeah. For those listening, it's like a little play set, but it's her DJ set. She's like messing around, flipping things up and down. Yeah, that's so funny.
She's a little engineer, man. Mixer.
See, isn't this the beauty of working from home? I know that we went through a pandemic and all that, but man, like the sense of just being able to spend time with your family and not being in office around people that, you're seeing more than your family at one point. It's great,
Right. And it was, prior to the pandemic, I was into high-end parties, events, had two companies that were totally demolished by COVID-19. And they were totally demolished by COVID-19. And it was a positive for me because I get to be with her like every day.
Right.
Like, I would have never been able to forgive myself, like, if I was an absentee father, because I didn't have the greatest of upbringing with myself. I came to like a dad in my life, but I've been here for her every day. get to help her out. Got to see her first couple of steps yesterday. She's not. She will be 9 months tomorrow.
Wow.
And
already walking or making steps. That's pretty impressive. She's fast. She's a fast lunar.
She got good genes over here, man. Levi's,
That's right. And I know you were an athlete, weren't you?
What's that?
You were an athlete, weren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, you played college ball, I think.
Yeah, I did, and I got hurt training for the NFL. So yeah, I played at Northwestern, so I always rep in gang over here. So yeah, Northwestern University. I was a pretty diversified athlete coming out of high school. I played at everything. I was a state hurdle champion, regional, like all region in soccer, like you name it. Everything in my podunk high school down in Virginia. I tried it, and I ended up going to school on a football scholarship.
Wow.
Exactly what I didn't care about, football was the only sport that I really didn't care about, and of course that's what I was best in.
That's usually how it works. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
I stopped growing. I wish I was I played like 4 and 5 in basketball, so like power forward and center, and I ended up 6'2" and a half. And I just stopped growing. So football it is.
Right.
Got pretty good at it. And she's like, sorry she's so vocal right now.
No, you're fine.
She's usually just chilling.
Zozo's adding some commentary also. She wants to be in the podcast, so I get it.
No, she really does. She has, since she was born, she's like been in my little podcast booth over here. So she knows her way around the camera. She knows the difference between a tablet and an actual computer, so she'll be trying to like type on the computer like versus like touch the iPad or my iPhone, and yeah, she's gonna say "dada" first. But yeah, I was an athlete through and through, from Fluvanna County, Virginia, or that's where actually I went to high school. It's the middle of nowhere. We didn't have every sport that all the other kids in our district had, but everything we had, I tried to play, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, if you have that athletic gene, like you said, and you're good at it, why not? Like, you're just going to try everything. I was similar, but I obviously am not a very tall guy. So the sports that I played were limited. I grew up wrestling all my life. So since I was 5 years old, my dad and his brothers were all wrestlers, my cousins. So we were a wrestling family in central New Mexico. And I did other sports like cross country and golf, more independent solo sports rather than the team sports. But but I feel you, man. Yeah. So I guess I mean, during your athletic career, did you ever have injuries where you looked to cannabis, or did you always consume cannabis, or like, what was the relationship there?
Yeah, being from Fluvanna County, Virginia, in the middle of nowhere, it's about 35-40 minutes outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. You didn't have much to do, so we smoked a lot of weed when I was young. And I was like 12 when I first started.
That's the same situation. I grew up, small town, rural, not much to do, and I mean,
and the weed is just as bad as cigarettes. So the old school brick weed was terrible anyway. Right. So
the seeds and the stems and the oh my god,
like after
compacted.
I smoked, oh man. Just crackling like the whole time. Like, oh yeah, that's that good shit. Like, no, probably rat feces that you're smoking right now.
This is that Cali bud, bro. That's that Cali stuff. Yeah.
We used to call it like the Cali medical.
Right,
whatever that meant. It was Mexican brick weed. That's what we were smoking. That's what we were.
It's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I know. She's like, oh, quit you lying.
She just could call you out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So 12 when I got started, I didn't do anything medicinally. However, when I was in college, when we played football in college, I did recover with it. I didn't really call it recovery. I was like, yo, like we're gonna smoke right now because I was a scholarship athlete, meaning that I'm not gonna be randomly tested.
Right.
The walk-ons, and if you were in the doghouse like with the coach, that's when you get randomly tested. Like we were so Northwestern now it's $73,000 a year. When I was there, it was
probably 50.
It was 47.
47. Yeah.
47,000 a year. So we were a $200,000 investment. Like, and with me, like a fifth year, like you're a $250,000 investment. You think you're going to be randomly drug tested?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So we didn't know it was like recovery or anything like that. We just like, dude, like I'm really, really tired. Like I'm really tired. I'm really beat up. I'm maybe gonna have a beer or two, and I'm gonna smoke a blunt, and I'm gonna feel great for tomorrow's practice.
Right. Yeah. Especially after a long practice where you're really fatigued and you got muscle aches or whatever, and you smoke like that. That's completely. It's more you're thinking in college like you're chilling, but there is therapeutic value right now that we know.
Oh yeah.
And we're learning more about it.
Yeah, 100%. But I didn't really use it like in sports as I should have until I was in my 30s. And it's sad because senior year of college, I go to the team doctor with a sore throat, and she gives me unlimited refills of Vicodin. And here I am, a poor kid from Virginia. My parents made just enough for me not to get Pell Grant, but I didn't have enough really to get by. And that's like the untold story of collegiate, of college. It's getting told a little bit more now. College athletics is the fact that all the kids get the same stipend.
Right.
Like $990, doesn't matter if you're in Alabama or you are in Los Angeles, you get the same amount. And $990, and you are a professional athlete, expected to maintain your physical acumen, expected to go to class all the damn time.
Yep.
Pay for gas, food. You're constantly hungry. Like, you damn right we took like $100 handshakes.
Hell yes. No, I'm right there with you, man. I have a similar background. I mean, I wrestled 1 year in college, and same thing, came from a small town, and there's so much hard work that any college athlete goes through. I don't care what sport it is, but maintaining not only the athletics, but then also the education, showing up to class, making the grades, because you got to stay eligible. You know, it's insane, man. It's crazy. Did I lose you?
No, she's wilding out right now. She snatched my glasses off my face. I can't wait, dude. She's gonna be a fucking crazy athlete. I'm like really, really hyped up about it. Senior year, unlimited refills of Vicodin. I started selling, started partying with it, and I was addicted. I ruptured my Achilles training for the NFL, and next thing you know, like, we didn't have Obamacare at the time. This is 05, 06. There's no Obamacare, so we did not have insurance. There's no insurance coverage. I fell off the team insurance, and I didn't have the refills of Vicodin anymore. So I was actually selling weed on the streets of Chicago to support my opioid habit.
Wow. Wow.
3.2 GPA. And 2 degrees from a top 10 university at the time, a top 10 university, and I'm selling weed to tourists in Wrigleyville in Chicago just to get by.
Oh my God. And this is so I want to clarify, this is after you were out of school, or this is while you're in school?
This is right after. So
right after. Okay.
Yeah, I returned from my 5th year, got my 2nd degree. So I was an art theory and practice major, and I was only a couple of classes shy of getting a 2nd degree. And instead of saying a full accelerated post-grad year, which I should have done. Just hated school. I just got my 2nd degree, so communications and art theory and practice, and ended up in the streets selling weed to support my opioid habit.
And how long did that last for?
About 6-7 months, and then I Yeah, I was bouncing the bar, Goose Island, Wrigleyville, 3535 North Clark. And
Shout out.
yes, shout out to Goose Island, Reggie over there. And even though Goose Island sold out to InBev, like it was incredible time. And I ended up going the next gig I got recruited, and I toured with a bunch of pop stars. Went on tour with Justin Timberlake, Nas, Akon, Green Day, Pussycat Dolls, to name a few. I was MC for Backstage Pass contests.
How did you pull that off?
Dude, I sold weed to him.
So you had gas, you had fire buds, and then so like that you kind of were able to hang out with them because you were supplying them, or what?
Yeah, dude, like
that's fucking awesome.
I wasn't like your, I was not like your everyday drug dealer.
Yeah, well, when you said you're on the streets, I'm thinking like you're literally like pushing. I don't know. I just had a totally different picture.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like a lot of people get that misconception, and like I was bouncing at a bar, and like in my meantime sold a little weed, and I'm just smoking weed with the people I sold it to.
Right.
And you just like run into some random people. Like Chicago is a lot like Los Angeles, where you just like you run into random people, and people are either like they're either terrible people or they're great people. There's not a lot of like in between. So
right.
When you meet some good people, usually you do through weed. You just make friends. So
right.
I wasn't like a career drug dealer. Like I wasn't like a kingpin or anything like that. Like I was doing it to get by, and
that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that
I didn't follow the 10 crack commandments.
Right.
I did get high on my own.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Yes, yeah. I did.
Well, hey, I don't blame you for that. Especially if you're going on tour with all those big artists, like you mentioned, it must have been some good shit, right? So how could you not?
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I went on tour with them, and then I found out, like after like a year and a half of my dream job, like I found out like how much my best friend Greg was making in corporate finance, and I totally sold out. I had like a mohawk up to here, like a goatee down to here, and just like living the life. My mom absolutely hated the fact that I looked like this after a Northwestern degree, and then it was like her dream come true. I sold out and got into corporate finance.
Corporate finance. Wow. Staring at spreadsheets all day.
Dude, it's the worst life decision ever. But it was probably the biggest learning experience I've ever had in my life. I got in at just the wrong time. Started in October 2007.
Oh, the housing market, the crisis. Yeah.
The mortgage crisis.
Oh, shit.
Like the whole, that whole thing went down. And I always tell people, the best job security that you can have in for a Black man, right? The best job security you can have is in corporate finance, because there's only one of us in every office that have diversity quotas. And so I was definitely not qualified to be in the position I was, like, at all. Made it through 4 layoffs, I want to say, maybe even 5, 4 layoffs, and I was still there. But I learned.
Why do you say that? Are you saying because your skill level wasn't there? Like you were just so new to the game, or what? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There were people who are more qualified that could bring in more money at the time than me when I started. And it was like literally like October 2007, like the peak of the market. Like everything just went down
crazy
after that. Like, so right when it took me 3 tries to pass my Series 7 because I have ADHD. And it wasn't like it was too hard. It was like I fell asleep taking the test every single time. And like the 3rd time I barely passed it. I stayed with the firm, and like literally they should have taken, like they should have kept some of these other people at the firm other than myself, because they were already producing, already bringing money in, and I was not.
Yeah.
So I'll take my Black privilege. I'll take.
Hey, diversity, man. It's a thing, you know. I mean, it's real. Like that's just the way it is. So
Right. That's the only time I'll ever say that Black privilege actually did exist. It kept me off the streets of Chicago.
Yeah.
And in the winter, it sucked. And I made my way up the ladder. So out of the trough of recession, actually really did get good. And I ended up being like one of the top sales guys at the firm, and I made them a couple of $1 billion. I brought them a couple of billion in. I learned a lot about finance, and then I had a tumor.
Oh, so then you had a tumor after that?
Yeah, and I quit like cold turkey. So I hated what corporate finance made me. Like,
yeah, they don't. Corporate overall just makes you into a different person. Like, you can't be yourself in the office. You can't. No.
At all. And it sucks. And everybody that knows me personally, and then knew me in those 10 years I was in corporate finance, man, like, they're like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, I'm balling though.
like this isn't you. They're saying, like, this isn't you, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I was making the most money that I had in my life, more money than I ever thought that I'd
Oh,
ever
sure.
make.
And great benefits, health insurance, 401k, the works. Yeah, it's great.
And I just like completely sold out. Like, everybody who knows me personally knows me from a place where I call sellouts out. I'm not the type of person that sells out for.
So that's interesting, because I was gonna ask you. I was gonna be like, you keep saying sell out, but I see, like, you would have called yourself out for doing that.
Oh, yeah,
and you are. I mean, right now, obviously, yeah.
Right.
So okay.
Yeah, I'm a type of person that I celebrate everybody for just being themselves. When I was in finance, I was never myself. I was so anti-establishment. I was the radical person. I was like one of the most radical people probably you could ever even imagine, like fresh out of college. And then for me to like put a suit on every single day and go to the financial district.
How many years did you do that?
Dude, 10 years.
10 years.
I call it the lost decade.
Well, that's similar to me. I mean, I just recently got out of the corporate world too, and it is almost 10 years, but I jumped to different companies and stuff. But man, I totally get it, what you're saying. So, okay, so you go through all that, you make your mom happy, right? But at the same time, you feel guilty because you're not being true to yourself. So when do you pull the plug?
So 7 years into my 10-year career, I'm just gonna give up and just give her my iPhone, you know.
Screen time is always a good move.
She's screen time. There you go. You win. Yeah, she's gonna chill out now. She's happy.
Parenting 101.
Give them the fake iPhone.
Yes.
So 7 years in, I was a secret addict. You know, there's the best thing. You know, we kind of, I took it from her and she was whining. The one thing that we glossed over was the fact that we had great benefits when I was in finance, and I was able to become a secret addict, and nobody really frowned upon when I was in corporate finance. They didn't really frown upon popping pills. Like, you're half the time you're drunk with your clients in the middle of the day. People are doing lines of cocaine on the evenings and on the weekends, sometimes just behind closed doors, but you can't smell like weed. So,
well, it's such the effect of cannabis is so opposite of what the pace is in that industry, right? It's go, it's fast, drinking, you know, winning and dealing, and, you know, cannabis is more relaxing and chill, I guess. So
right. Yeah. And I think when I discovered like what a copay is, I was like, oh shit, like I don't have to pay $800+ to get my pills that I've been getting over the counter. like forever. I can only pay like $20 to get like all this shit. Like I was like, I'm gonna stick with this job as long as I can.
And these pills are opioids or benzodiazepines or like what are
Right.
you?
Yeah. So it started off with Vicodin, and when I ruptured my Achilles tendon training for the NFL, Vicodin didn't work for me anymore, so they gave me Norco. I got depressed because all of my homeboys were still playing, and I wasn't. They gave me Zoloft, and then I was popping all these pills now, and I couldn't sleep. Ambien, and so I had like all these like damn pills, and they're free forever. Then all of a sudden, like I drop off of the school insurance, and it's I'll remember to this day $864 monthly
Damn.
for me to like cover like all these bills. So
It's like rent.
no, that's why I was slanging dope. So I got rent, and then I got my drugs got paid for. Selling weed to pay for my drugs. So yeah, that dropped down to $20 a month now with copays, and it just got me stuck in finance. So I stayed in finance, like mostly for the benefits, the fact that I didn't have to pay for my addiction so much. And then I got really, really good at what I was doing in financial sales. And what that amounted to was them pushing me, dude, really? Got a little soundtrack here, right? They started sending me out to California because I was like closing. I was a big closer, so they would fly me out to. I was actually in Dallas a lot, so Dallas, Houston, Miami, DC, and LA. Like LA and San Fran all the time. They sent me out to close all the big deals. And I was out at a dispensary here in LA, and I got called out for being an addict. Like straight up, like the dispensary owner like said to me, he was like, "You're an addict." I'm like, "Fuck you, dude." Like, who says
Wow.
that?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's like, "No, I actually work with a lot of addicts, and I can tell you have a twitch." He's like, "You have a certain twitch in your jaw. Like, you're an addict. I work with a lot of, I help people." And yeah, you've been in corporate world for a long time. You know, like challenger model, like in sales.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like that's me. I respond very well to that. There's nobody around that's like, "What you got, man? Like,
Yeah.
you help me?"
It's the first time that you're called out like that, and it's real, right?
Right.
It's super impactful. You're like, you know what? Wow, you're surprised first off, and then you're like, yes, like I'm actually needing help because I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, I needed help. Like in
Yeah.
at that point in my life, in my career, like shit was out of control, man. I was partying hard on the weekends, like popping pills all the time, like not just because my back was hurting or whatever. It was just because it kept me feeling regular. And only time I would get good weed was when I went out to California at the dispensaries, and this guy's calling me out, and I'm like, dude, like I knew that I had a problem. I would never admit that in front of anybody else, but because it was this, I'll keep his name quiet because I'm not a snitch. He is the homie. Yeah, this dude, this ghetto shaman, right? He calls me out for being an addict, and I appreciated that. Like, nobody's real with me in years.
Right. And especially someone you don't know. So like what was his remedy? Like how did he say he helps addicts?
So he asked me what pills I was taking. I let him know like exactly what I was taking, and he recommended that instead of taking like this full pill of say, I think the Norco was actually like breakable pills. He was like, telling me like, I take half of this and take a little bit of this tincture. And he would like drop the dosage, and I would just, every time I would come out in LA, I would see him again, and he would just like consult with me. And I didn't know anything. I did not believe in medical cannabis, like at all. And like almost 7 months later, like I didn't need the pills at all, man.
Wow.
And that's what like totally like flipped my wig, man. And I get a little emotional. I think about that shit, man. It was a rough time in my life.
Yeah, and I can't imagine.
it totally changed, totally flipped me around, and I became a huge advocate for the plant. 3 more years. What is your issue, dude? Like 3 more years and I had a tumor like in my throat, man. And my father died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, my grandmother pancreatic, my uncle multiple myeloma. My other uncle died during the pandemic. He had stomach cancer. So cancer just like runs on both sides of my family.
Right.
And everybody dies from it. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be any different than anybody else in my family. And I was just like, shit, this is it.
Was the tumor malignant?
It was benign.
It was benign.
Yeah, I was the first person to have a benign tumor. Ironically, I'm the only one that's a pothead in my family too.
Wow.
And I don't know. Obviously, I don't have a time machine. I can't go back and like run tests on me from back then. But
Right.
like, kind of like stick something in my head. I'm like, maybe cannabis had something to do with my tumor being benign. And I took a 2 weeks leave of absence from work just to like sort my own thoughts out. And I quit, dude. Like cold turkey. Just quit.
Stepped out.
Yeah, 10 years. And at the time I was the branch manager at one of the, I won't say it on here because I want to get sued. I was a branch manager at actually like one of the biggest like financial firms like in the finance industry. And like here, Century City Avenue of the Stars, like big, like huge accounts. We have like over 50 billion assets under management, and just walked away, man. I was done.
Wow. Well, at that point, because cannabis had helped address the addiction problem, at that point you could then be true to yourself because you didn't need to rely on the corporate system to make it so easy for you to access those drugs, right?
Facts. And that was the biggest thing, man. Like I'm like, I never told anybody that I beat cancer. No, I didn't beat cancer. I just feel like I was given a second opportunity to live and to actually follow my beliefs. And I know my wife wasn't too happy like at the time.
Right.
I'm about to cut off this spigot. But,
right, well, because she's got the insurance also. Like, I mean, it's all, it's a safety net for your family as well. I get that.
And I took a big chance because this is California, no fault states. So I could be giving up half, like right there. But yeah, she stuck with me, and I made the right decision. Like I'm like, I can't go forward like doing like this. I absolutely hated every single day of my life. I hated being in finance. I hated lying to people. I hated selling people stuff that they didn't need.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, if I get to live a little bit longer, I'm actually, dude. She is on 11.
Zozo, it's okay.
She's like, I don't know. All right, so yeah, so I'm like, if I die tomorrow, I'm gonna die doing something that I believe in.
Period. And that was that what, like 4 years? Was that 2016 when you decided to step out of the corporate finance game?
Yeah, end of 2016.
End of 2016. So did you know or have a plan of what you wanted to do in the cannabis industry, or you just knew that this is something you want to be involved in?
Yeah, so my best friend at the time, still like a really, really close friend of mine. He's one of the founders of one of the, at the time they were the #1 vape company in the industry. And he had been trying to get me to leave corporate finance. And I actually had quit twice. And that's another thing about, I was a black unicorn in the finance industry. Like not only was I, you're fine. Hey, my wife just took the baby.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, not only was did I have all my licenses, Series 7, 6, 63, 65, 24, 9, and 10, and insurance licenses, but, you know, I came from a top university, ex-football player. Um, I was marketable,
Right,
right?
right.
And so I quit twice. I tried to join the industry twice before, but every single time, like, dude, like within hours, I'll get an offer. I get a call from a headhunter. Like, oh, we'd like you to come over this.
And that is such a delicate dance. It's a dangerous dance, man. The teetering back and forth of like, do I go back to work? Because you're, like you said, if you're marketable and you have a really good LinkedIn profile or whatever, you're regularly getting hit up by headhunters and recruiting firms to place you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, like all the time. And you add another a layer to that, because like the whole like diversity conversation that was huge at that time. There was, I don't know, you know, I've been completely checked out of corporate finance since then, but that was like huge. Like a lot of people
It's
were.
still important. It's still important for sure. Yeah.
Got it. And so like people, they would bend over backwards to have somebody as qualified as I am, a person of color, qualified as I am, at a position of power at their firms. And so I left one firm, was immediately upgraded at the next place with a huge signing bonus, but I had to stay there for a year or I had to pay it back. And then I had to stay there for a year, I had to pay it back. And it like literally took a lump in my throat for me to fucking leave. And
Wow.
so I did. And Josh, I'll say Josh. So Josh is like, he's one of my best friends. And he was at a company called Honey Vape at the time. And they were, between them and Open Vape from Organa Brands, they were the top vape company in the industry. And he was trying to get me to come on. So after 3 years, like, you just don't want to work for your best friend.
Right, yeah.
You know him too well.
It's, too well, and then when just hard decisions need to be made and there's negotiations, it's just awkward, right? You're like, you're not in the same capacity of what you're used to. I get it.
Yeah. But he had a couple of connections, and he connected me with a couple of people that had started this little tech company in the cannabis industry called Baker Technologies. So I started with Baker. I was their first boots on the ground here in California, and we ended up going public. So yeah, we were one of the first MSOs in the entire industry, multi-state operators, and they just could not crack the California market. And here I am, fresh out of finance. I'm like, dude, like, I know how to hit the pavement. And I've run like sales teams from 3 people all the way up to 90 plus.
Right.
Like, I know how to sell. Like let me hit the streets. And I did something that nobody was willing to do in the cannabis industry, because on the corporate side, which is brand new, nobody was willing to go door to door.
Right.
So I went door to door in the weed industry. And here I am, I joined this like lily white company. Like, I was the only Black person there. Also, this company out of Denver, and I'm going into the hood, like getting them in places like they couldn't even call on, right?
Yeah.
So I take over the entire state of California, really. Like, at our peak, we were, I want to say 41% of the entire market. So we were the first in the industry to do digital loyalty, targeted text messaging, and online ordering.
Wow. And this was software solutions that you provided to certain retail or dispensaries, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it started off with dispensaries, and we expanded to brands. And I was the only one pushing the product like out here in California, and took over the state, made a name for myself. Then this is my prized possession.
What's that?
The High Times, like a 100 most influential people.
Oh, he's holding up. Yeah, for those listening, it's a plaque from High Times. That's pretty cool, man. Nice. All right.
Like I always talk about, like all the like financial industry, like accolades and trophies that I had. Like, I didn't care about any of those. I hated every second of that career. But like the one thing that I got in the cannabis industry was like,
Yeah.
I was a high times 100 most influential people, and nobody knew who the hell I was. It was awesome. Here I am, like Vicente Fox.
Yeah,
from
that's the best
Mexico.
kind of fame, is to like be known but no one really know who you are, right? You don't have to deal with all the
Yes,
yeah.
it's kind of like, it's kind of weird now, because then it's like I'm at a table with Exhibit to the right of me, Vicente Fox from Mexico, like over here at the left,
Whoa.
and like
That's the former president of Mexico, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like I'm like the guy, like if people knew who my name was, but I made a real big name for myself, not just with the with Baker, but I was throwing private parties and events for celebrities, pro athletes, and investors looking to get in the cannabis industry, but they don't want to go to a sesh. I was the plug. I was the glue that connected the trap house to the penthouse. Because I came from like corporate finance, right?
Right,
And
right,
so
yeah.
I'm still talking to these people, and this is early days when investors began. You can give her back. You good? Um, uh, they began like tiptoeing into the industry, but like they were scared. They didn't want to go into the hood. They didn't want to go into the trap. And I was like, okay, let's rent out this Airbnb penthouse. Let's rent out this mansion, and I'll make it all classy. Didn't know what we were doing in the beginning, but we just kind of like blew it up. And before you knew it, I had a little like, party empire. And
Wow. So you're doing that in addition to the software also?
yeah, I did that because I was having trouble selling the software directly. You know, cannabis is, that's the best way to say it. It is very rudimentary when it comes to software solutions, um, especially at the time that I got in, late 2016 to 2017. Um, Weed Maps left a bad taste in their mouth. Like Weed Maps is a decent company now, but it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths in the industry. So people were skeptical of software solutions, and they didn't want to be tracked. So it was like really hard to sell directly, like you do any other product. So I sold my product and I demoed my product at parties. And so it's pretty simple. Like if you ever go into a dispensary, I know you're in Texas, so it's a little different out there. But if you go to any dispensaries outside of Texas, like in Oklahoma, you can go up the street.
Yeah. It's not far, like 3 hours.
Right? You can
Yeah.
like you check in with your phone number and your interests. That's it. So we created a way that you can data silo people and create loyalty programs and find out exactly who wants what in your dispensary. Therefore, like nothing is word of mouth anymore, and everything is done anonymously. And it was totally revolutionary at the time. It was a great product, and we actually were the only ones in the industry with an actual guarantee. Like I've been from the finance industry, the only thing you can guarantee is insurance products that you're stuck in for the rest of their lives.
Right.
I'm like, we can actually guarantee, like, yes. And we would guarantee I'd walk in and my pitch would be to a dispensary owner, or if they came into my party and they're like, oh, there's a cool system. I'm doing like a digital raffle. I'm getting like all these people this information so I could throw doper parties the next time. That's what I was doing.
So you're demoing on the people that you're showing the product to, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
inputting their information, like what strains they like, or what it like. Is that what the preferences
So,
of
yeah,
strains? Yeah.
it wouldn't be just strains. So your phone number, and yeah, it was phone number because people in the cannabis industry at the time, still most of the time, but at the time they didn't use email like at all. They were skeptical of email. Everybody's like, like you're the feds. Why you asking me for my real email? We do business face to face.
Right.
It was still like that. So we collect phone numbers and interests. So in most dispensaries, it was just 3 interests. So flower, concentrate, or edibles. And we were able to connect that phone number to whatever their interests were. And instead of spamming people with everything, you send an email or a text message out to people when you have promos for flower, because it's Flower Friday, right? We're the first ones in the cannabis industry to do that. And we never had to spam anybody because it was like opt in always.
Right. Right.
And,
I'm familiar with that actually because there's a local CBD store that I've gone to, and I'm on their rewards program,
yep,
and like I get points whenever I purchase product, and then ultimately, of course, I can cash those points in for something for free. And then they, like you said, they notify me if there's deals or discounts or promotions going on in the store. So,
yep, that was
yeah.
me.
Okay.
we
Yeah.
start. We were the first ones to do that. We actually stole that from Starbucks. So it's like our CTO like reverse engineered like a Starbucks express pickup, which they actually licensed from Chipotle, but we could never get sued for it because as a publicly traded company, they could not play in our sandbox. They couldn't be in the cannabis industry, and we didn't play in their sandbox.
Right.
So
So it's the same technology, but you're in different industries, so therefore
correct.
it's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So that is exactly how we got started, and I had trouble selling this to people directly because I couldn't get to the actual decision makers. So what I did is I started throwing parties and events, inviting the decision makers to my parties. So I had these big name people who start coming to my parties, and they would bring celebrities with them. I didn't. It was like literally just me hustling, finding a new way to get to the client.
Right.
And I had a little bit of budget, and then I stretched that shit out, and before I knew it, I had parties that were sponsored by some of the biggest companies in the industry, and I would have a bunch of attendees that were dispensary owners, that were weed celebrities, and then real life celebrities. A guy like my birthday party, I think in like 2018, um, called it Ink Easels and Sour Diesel. I had like a live like, tattoo artist, like my 35th birthday. Like a live tattoo artist there. I had like a live artist because I was an art major. Like I had like a live like artist there doing like a huge acrylic piece, and
Wow.
um and uh and then we had like Sour Diesel. Like I'm from the East Coast, it's the biggest strain. I had like I was like gifted like turkey bags from like all these people, and dude, like Jamie Foxx came to my party. Like Jamie Foxx and Puff Daddy stopped by. I'm like, what is life right now? I'm like, what the world
Yeah,
is going
like
on?
is this real? Yeah, you have to like pinch yourself to make sure you're not in a dream. I can't
Right.
imagine.
And the result was like, dude, like I just became me and my partner at the time. We became like the go-to guys when it came to celebrities, pro athletes, and whatever. We're known for throwing like classy parties, and that's how I got my award, and that's how the West was won through cannabis in our product. That's like literally like all these big people like that's a cool product you have, and I literally had people check into my parties because I told them I'm not a snitch. I just want your phone number so I can text you when we have our next party, and then also you can opt out at the end of the night. And I had a 98% retention rate.
Right, because you added value, right? I mean, it's something
Yes.
that they wanted. Yeah, so
Yes,
that
and we
that
did
makes sense.
raffles through it, like all that stuff, and people loved it. So
So, what was this company called?
it was Baker Technologies.
Baker
It's
Technologies.
it's Tilt Holdings now.
Okay.
Um, I should actually check it out. Yeah, because we went through a little tumultuous times. Hey, we're up to 36 cents now. Yeah, we were. It
Are
was
they?
exact.
Has the stock price increased after the Senate announcement?
Oh yeah, we can get into that too. Oh, shit. That's what I'm doing now. But yeah, it was a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of VC guys from Canada didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they didn't respect the culture. And I told them, like, me being like on the ground, me coming from the financial industry, I told them, like Alex Coleman, who was our CEO at the time, and I'm like, no, like the industry is not the same in California as it is in Boston or these other places.
Right.
Like you have to respect the culture. Like, there's no other industry where everything, economically speaking, came from number one, illegal places, and number two, the culture side of the industry. Before there was any kind of structure, you had the culture.
Yep.
Before you had the medical side, you had the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was spawned from that, and they did not respect that. and they had like a rough time coming out. We were supposed to IPO at $5. We IPO'd at $3.22. My strike price, $5.25, and currently trading at 34 cents. I don't know how much money that I made off.
I'm not a mathematician, but I don't need to do the math. I get the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, I won't be selling anytime soon. So yeah, the cool part was, yeah, I was employee 19 at a global behemoth now, that is a publicly traded company. The sad part is that was the first time that I saw these corporate raiders coming in here trying to treat cannabis in the industry like it's big alcohol, like it's big tobacco. It's not.
It's a whole different
Period.
thing, right?
It's just totally separate, and it's kind of the tenets, the core tenets behind CANiVISION. Is the industry itself is a three-legged stool, and without one of those legs, everybody falls, and they try to do it over and over, and everybody fails. Like, and we need each other. Like this, cannabis is a communal plant. It brings everybody together, and the lifestyle side of the industry needs the business side needs the wellness side, and they all need each other. And if you don't have those sides of your company, of your organization, you're going to fail. Or if you're not connected to somebody with those strong tenets, you're going to fail. And I think that's what makes our industry so unique, is the fact that so many people try to come in like, oh, I'm going to dominate and doing this way. I did this in this industry. I'm like, it's different, dude.
Right. And it's a whole different way of working with people too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, especially, the legacy cannabis operators, who have gone through the first kind of struggles and challenges and red tape, right? That they had
Mhm.
to endure and go through. And so I totally 100% agree with what you're saying. Each group adds value, but there needs to be a common level of understanding of the culture and respect among one another,
But 100%. That's the universal language right there, is respect. And a lot of people don't believe it, man. Oh man, what kind of dogs you got?
Little chihuahuas, and they must see something outside. Hold on, let me do this.
Very good.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm a big dog guy myself. Um,
Do you have any?
Unfortunately, like ours just passed away about a month and a half ago. It was an Australian cattle dog.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He lived a long life though, man. And CBD actually helped him prolong his life. He's 13, and he's born on 9/11, and uh, he lived a long life. And his name was
Good.
Dingo.
Dingo. Rest
Yeah,
in peace, Dingo.
R.I.P. And it's good to like just focus on family life with the daughter now, and
Right.
we're probably gonna have go and get another dog when she gets a little older. Well, we can just focus on her. But back to yeah, just respect, the universal language of respect, and a lot of people take that for granted. And the easiest way to get forward, like anywhere, like a lot of people are like afraid to go in the hood. A lot of people are afraid to go here, afraid to go there. If you speak the universal language of respect, man, like you can get a lot further than anywhere. Like I've seen the biggest kingpins from like the darkest like corners of the earth. Like my adventures like go deep, and I've seen them talk to like some really corporate people, and just like with the language, just respect, the mutual respect, and shit gets done.
Right. Do you
And
see these new entrants? Like, are the majority of them, they're probably willing to work with these, like they have a common respect, right? Or are you seeing a lot of disrespect with these new entrants? Like, what's your perspective on
it's a
that?
mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag.
It's totally mixed bag. And here's the problem: everybody thinks that their issues are bigger than the next person's issues, and they never recognize the fact that everybody's experience is subjective, and And of course, you're gonna think that your plight is worse than the next person's plight. Like, oh yeah, like my cousin died from this. Like, yeah, like that's a real thing. Um, but without you knowing who you're talking to, without you like actually asking questions of the person you're talking to, like across the table, how do you know that they haven't been through more?
Right. Right.
Right. So when those respect those boundaries of respect are put in place, like there's easy conversation to be had. And a lot of people who enter the space and fail, it's simply because they did not, number one, open themselves up to probably those other two columns, the core pillars of the industry: lifestyle, wellness, and culture, community. Um, that's number one. Number two, they probably just didn't respect what came before them, and vice versa. The OG companies that fail, it's mostly because they don't respect those other two sides of it either. They don't respect the business side. Like, whether you like it or not, the industry's growing up. Whether you like it or not, we decided to legalize over decriminalize.
Right.
This is capitalism now. Whether you like it or not, you need to learn how to run a business, or you're going to put yourself in legal jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, period.
Yeah,
So
it's a give and take on both sides for sure, man. Yeah, I
yeah,
could
we
totally
need
see
each
it.
other.
They need each other. Both sides add value, and like you said, it's only inevitable that the industry is growing up. What's your perspective on specifically the California market? So, like, obviously, the illicit market is thriving right now, right?
Dude, it's always gonna thrive. It's always gonna thrive because the legislators don't know what the hell they're doing. If you saw, they're just trying to consolidate all of the agencies into one, like the Direct Cannabis Committee or some shit like that, some bullshit. And here's the problem: Lori Ajax, she just left. She was the head of the BCC. She comes from big alcohol.
Okay,
they
there
keep
you
on putting
go.
people. They keep on putting people in place who don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, and this is no disrespect to Lori, I promise. They just put people in that have no experience, like either with the industry, they never ran a cannabis business on the legal or illegal side. They don't know the danger. They don't know the issues that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Um,
Is there a willingness on their part to listen and hear the industry operators and like willing to collaborate with them?
Verbally, there is.
But there's no action, is what you're saying.
And
You're saying there's no action.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how far deep into like the weeds you want to get on this. I could go deep, man, because that's exactly what CANiVISION is all about. Like, we offer, you know, the microphone and the camera to people like operators. Like, we're privy to like a lot of like information directly about people. Like, we don't even talk about rumors. Like, this is like vetted information from people.
Right.
Like, we're
And
able to
the and the majority of feedback is negative.
from a legislative standpoint, yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
starts off like, and here's the thing, man. Like, every state that goes legal, they fall like dominoes. It's the blind leading the blind. Like, oh yeah, our state's different. We're gonna do it like this. And like, 3 core tenets, man. That's it. I've simplified it, and this is what I'm selling with CannAVision is like the 3 core tenets. You need to connect with people, all 3 sides of your company. People that are well connected on the business side, they know how to keep you running in the legal market. People who respect the wellness side of the plant, not just medical, the wellness side, because CBD should be included in that too. And then you need to respect those who came before you, the legacy side, the illicit side, the illegal side, the culture side, and
The social equity side also, right? Yeah.
and that's a complicated subject, especially with me, because I was one of the first people on the street. So the shout out to Virgil Grant. Oh man, I was actually doing some pre-spring cleaning. I'm gonna show you, like, this is an artifact. I'm gonna get him. So Virgil Grant, he's the godfather of social equity. This is Virgil Grant. And
so they were looking at a magazine cover with Virgil Grant sitting down in a suit, it looks like.
yes. And so, like, it's crazy that you brought up social equity. I know we're gonna talk about social equity today. So he is the godfather of social equity. He is one of 10 legal dispensary owners in Los Angeles who were raided and arrested by the DEA in 2010. He's the only one that was Black, and he's the only one that did hard time. He did 6 years, one for each dispensary that he owned. Wow. And like kind of like a weed Martin Luther King, he helped write the first social equity bill from his jail cell.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he got out, and so he caught so much flack for this magazine, because this is like crazy, because my wife found this. Like, we were doing some cleaning because we're actually moving out of our place here. You're not moving to Texas.
I was gonna say,
not yet.
You better hurry, because it's filling up. It's getting packed over here. You gotta hurry.
You guys need to legalize weed first, dude.
No, they're gonna do medical before that happens.
But yeah, so social equity, I call it, it's 40 acres and a mule, man. It's a bunch of like broken promises, and I just feel like it was designed to fail from the beginning, and it's just a buzzword now. Like, every state that goes public, they're like, oh yeah, we have to do social equity. Like, that's great and everything, but what is the exact definition of social equity? It's so broad, it's so different every single place. The only way that it's going to work is if it is federally mandated.
Right.
And because California, I would say California cannabis industry is a microcosm of the greater United States industry. And the cannabis industry itself is a microcosm of America, like a period. And if you like put a microscope like on it, and with California, we acted like our own country. Everything's done municipality up.
Right.
So East LA, the Valley, West LA, downtown, they all have different ideas of what social equity could be. It's been 3 years since the law passed, and applicants still don't have operating licenses. And this is the Mecca, the quote unquote Mecca of the cannabis industry, the birthplace of social equity. And now everybody's doing it. Oh, we got to do this, got to do that. And oh, Chicago is going to be, they're actually doing it right. Like, Chicago failed. Detroit failed. Like, New Jersey didn't even put it in there.
Yeah.
Like, they can't decide like how to frame this. Like, and what people need is just equity, man. Like, if you're going to call, and the problem is, like, with it in California is, number one, there is no affirmative action. So you're fucked from the beginning. Like, people don't read the laws. People they get all excited. The MORE Act, same thing. People don't read the laws and see what's really going on. The MORE Act, people thought it was going to be, it's going to be a great symbolic win. Like, nah, man, Democrats, they're running the government now. The MORE Act might go into law, and therefore Joe Biden and Kamala Harris may have just ushered in the war on drugs 2.0. Majority of funding is going to law enforcement. And if you have a felony on your record, you cannot apply for a license.
That's so in the MORE Act. So because the MORE Act, they kind of run on the premise of expunging cannabis related crimes, right? And stopping penalties for cannabis related crimes. So you're saying there's more to that, in that we're actually
there's a Monday Night Massacre, man, and a bunch of us activists, a couple groups that I'm with, we've made public statements about it. We talked to Sheila Jackson on the committee, like all that, like what the hell happened? Like Monday Night Massacre, there was all these amendments that were put in literally in the middle of the night on Monday, when the bill was to be tabled 2 days later, totally gutted everything that made that bill palatable to communities of color. Straight up, everything was gutted.
It's so sad, man. That's so
And
sad.
they're like, oh, it's a great symbolic victory. It's not even going to be, it's not even going to be looked at by the Senate, but it's a step in the right direction. I'm like, dude, like, fuck a step in the right direction. Like, people have died for this. People continue to die for this. The reason why the legacy market, the reason why the trap continues to thrive right now is because of shit.
It's shit like that. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, like people
Well,
don't read the bills, they don't read the laws, and it's all it's all messed up, man. So
yeah.
it's a corporate takeover. So
It's it's also funny because like the Democrats ran on that, like on the notion of cannabis and whatnot, and being in support of it. And wow, but it's funny, like you see the move with Biden and his pick for attorney general, and what's the first thing he did? Oh, defer to the DEA. Talk to my scientists at the DEA about that. Next topic, so
even better, right? Did you see that the law they're trying to push through, like the DEA is going to be issuing licenses?
no, I didn't hear that. So tell us about that. What's that?
Yeah, the enforcers are now going to be selling the fucking weed too. Like, we covered this. So Fred Smith, my partner, he's my COO. Yeah, he is. We went over this in our AMA. We have Ask Me Anything every single Saturday morning. It's right now it's 11 a.m. every Saturday morning Pacific, but it's going to be 10 a.m. Beginning in February. Yeah, Merrick Garland, he said he's going to defer to the DEA on science and classification. Right. Like what?
And let me guess, the science hasn't changed. It's a bad drug, right? It's
Joe Biden last November, not this past one, last November was still saying that this is a gateway drug. Like Kamala Harris was like putting folks away for this shit, and she lied about Tupac, man. Like
I know he wasn't even released when she was in college, right? Like she was talking about an album that wasn't even in existence.
She was in college in 84, 85. Like Tupac. So Tupac was dancing around in Digital Underground, backup for Digital Underground videos in 1990. He didn't even come out with his own shit until 91.
It's so hilarious. You can't make this shit up. And it's like, but that's what's sad though, is that like, they run on these issues that, like you said, there's people in these industries that have died, have been locked up, have done so much for the plant, and just so that more people have access to the plant, right? Because they know how much it benefits your livelihood, the environment, economies, and still, man, like they're unfulfilled promises, and I don't want to jump the gun. Like, look, I want to be an optimist. I want to be positive. The blue wave, woo, like it's all here. But let's see it in action. These are promises that I think need to be fulfilled.
They do. Look, man, like I'm not a pessimist. I hate how many times I have to say that, like, all the time, because even my lawyer even my lawyer was like, Rico, you can't be sending out emails to say that, you were so anti-Biden Harris. And I'm like chill out. I'm really not. I'm a realist.
You're anti of all the bullshit already. Yeah, like you're tired.
I'm not anti. Yeah. I'm counter. So there's a key to that. Like, I'm a counter because I've been in this industry on both sides, right? I used to sell weed illegally in Chicago, and now I am, on the legal side, exposing truths, kind of like creating like the Vice News of the cannabis industry. But the entire back end of what I believe is this thing's bigger. This thing's bigger than any of us can imagine, and there are powers that be that we have no control over. So people need to stop looking at things top down, and they need to control what's going on in their own backyard.
Yep.
They need to organize
Yep.
locally, and they need to
Yep.
make sure the information is controlled locally. Make sure that it is people hear you, because like as we know, trickle down economics don't exist, but trickle up, that does. And when you control the conversation on a micro level, it starts to spread because it's more genuine. And those people that end up getting into higher office, their messaging has to reflect what's going on the ground, or they're not going to get that seat again.
Right.
So that's why I say I'm counter to everything, because I believe in big business. I am a capitalist, believe it or not. I am a capitalist myself. I'm not a socialist anarchist. I'm not.
I didn't get those vibes from you. No, yeah.
Everybody does. I'm a little bit of an anarchist. Like, don't get me wrong. I do not believe in institutions, but I'm not gonna go storm the U.S. Capitol and try to.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Don't storm the Capitol.
Those are anarchists. Those are like social Antifa. Like, no, man. Like, that's not Antifa right there.
Crazy, man.
That's Al Qaeda. they're the ones doing that. I'm not anti anything. I like being counter. Number one, because I am.
Well, because anti means basically you're closed off from it. You don't want anything to do with it, as opposed to being counter, where you could be tactical and change the way things are done, or like you said, taking that micro kind of approach instead of the macro. And that's a beautiful way you put it, man, because you're so right. The more that you can assemble locally, dispel the message, make sure it's consistent, have word of mouth, and then that trickles up to your lawmakers, or, when you're meeting with these lawmakers or these policymakers on these issues, you're more, you have more ammo to kind of communicate to them,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, so that's exactly what I believe. We should always have the opportunity to shift with access to more information. Like this is what I believed right now because of the information given to me. However, more information was revealed. Therefore, this is what's going on. I think that's what the key difference with what we're doing is to anybody else is like, I'm always open to more information. And I always invite people to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Please, please, please counter what I am saying. Offer more insight. I want to hear more opinions, but as long as they are backed by data, right? And my partner Freddie always says, like, bring the data, not the drama. And we try to extract emotion, like our emotion, out of the entire conversation, and we just talk facts. Like, we're going to have a very productive conversation. We're going to have a very productive relationship. And I feel like that's where people need to be. There's too much bullshit going on right now. Misinformation, disinformation, straight up lies from people. DEA. they're going to be doing all of the cannabis research going forward. like that kind of stuff needs to be stopped right now.
Right, and it needs to be called out, like what you're doing at CANiVISION and exposing these truths,
Right.
Yeah. Well, hey Rico, my last question, because I know that you got your hands full, man, is what is your kind of outlook for this year and beyond, even now with all the kind of fuckery that's happening in the MORE Act and all these different bills that are being passed?
Okay, so my outlook, I'm a realist, but I am a optimist at the same time. I'm cautiously optimistic. That's what we like to say in the financial world. The bullshit response to everything. No, a lot of positive can come out of what we're doing right now. And I think the pandemic has really, really exposed a lot of terrible actors It's a lot easier to expose people and connect with people who are about doing the right things a lot quicker. Like you and I via Zoom right now, we can connect like on several different levels. Podcasts have exploded. Methods of communication digitally have like exploded totally. And we are more connected now without being able to travel than we ever were before. So I'm excited about that aspect of everything. Um, but I am very much going to be cautious and aware of what's going on the big screen, on the big picture, controlling the controllable on a local level, but being well aware of what's going on a high level, the stuff that we can't change. There's only two ways to changing like what's going on on the highest of levels. Um, I'm not about to be doing some violence, I'm not about to, take somebody out like at the highest levels of this country, like period. I'm not about that life. And unless you are about that life, you're not going to be able to change like certain people's minds on stuff like that. You either do that, you get inside the machine and you run for office and you make your way up there. And by the time you make your way up to the highest levels, you've already lost your soul. Right. So
Right.
I think the
And
best.
it's really not a matter of like your hard work. It's more of like when it's your time.
Yeah.
So
And when, and how many people you sold out to
right.
along the way. So I think the best thing to do is just be aware of absolutely everything, like this kind of stuff that's going on with the DEA, and to control your circles, your family, your friends, your local community, and grow upward, connect with other people that are doing positive stuff in their communities, like yourself, and grow that way, because it's more genuine, and you can surround yourself with people that call you out on your bullshit. Like I love the fact that my team calls me out on my bullshit. It keeps me sharp,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I hate being surrounded by evangelists, and I feel like 2021 is gonna be a good year, period. I think it's gonna be a good year. I know we didn't get off to the best of starts, with the insurrection that happened yesterday.
January 6th, man. January 6th. Yep.
The day that goes down in infamy. I can't wait till the the on film adaptation of what exactly happened.
That's what I keep thinking about. I can't wait. So we like fast forward 10 years from now, we can watch this movie, like of like everything play out. Shit,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's going to be nuts. So I'm cautiously optimistic about what's going on, because we are so connected, and because people can quickly call out like the fuckery that goes on, like with the MORE Act, and you have people that are loud enough regionally to point out stuff. And in CANiVISION, that's exactly what we're doing. We're reaching out to people regionally. We have regional broadcast leaders in every region as a decentralized media network. Like period. It's not the Rico show. This is not about like Los Angeles. This is about the entire cannabis industry from a bottom-up standpoint. And I truly believe if we utilize the tools that we have available to us, and we truly respect all three sides of the industry, like we have a lot of positive to look forward to this year. And that's spoken from the heart, said with my chest.
It's well said, man. No, it's well said. And I really appreciate you sharing all your knowledge and experience in the industry, Rico. It's been a pleasure. I know that my audience got a lot of it as well, and it was really great meeting Zozo. Also, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the podcast space. I'll tell you that in the coming years, man.
Dude, I think she's gonna get in the cage, man. She's gonna be a cage fighter like yourself, man. Like,
Yeah, shit. Well, hey, if she
a
needs to
cage
know any
fighter.
wrestling moves, I can help her out on the wrestling side of that. So
She's already crawling out of the playpen. She cannot be contained. You saw her like wilding out over here. She just does not stop, man.
No, you cannot stop that one. She's a force to be reckoned with. That's what I'm saying, man. So
The Human Tornado Part 2.
that's right. Hey Rico, well let's run it back as
Yes.
things evolve in the new year, and I want to
Dude,
be a proponent and a megaphone for a lot of the stuff that you're exposing, like the MORE Act and all that. So,
please.
as things evolve and come out, like, feel free to share that stuff with me and my team, and we'll get it out there.
100%. And I would love to have you flip it on you and have you on CANiVISION for like a one-on-one sometime.
I'd
Yeah,
love
dude,
to
like,
do it.
yeah, because I think the opportunity in Texas is immense.
Yeah.
Period. And I appreciate what you are doing down there, like building a community out there. We need that. The opportunity is absolutely immense. I've been watching like a few like YouTube videos from people down there. I have a couple of operators down there on the CBD side.
I know that. We're hemp, baby, hemp.
Such bullshit. Such bullshit.
And it's just further confusing everything. It's like, no, this isn't marijuana. This is hemp. This is
Right.
wait, what? Wait,
Like
what?
it is all cannabis sativa.
I know, right?
Cannabis sativa. Like it just like it's just blows. It's like that meme, the Jackie Chan meme. Like it just like makes my head want to explode, because I was in the dark when I came into this industry too. So I really appreciate what you're doing. There's some people on the ground doing some great stuff down there, and if the annexation of California becomes a greater North Texas like a region, maybe in a couple of years we'll make our way down there. But
Hey, you're welcome. Come on down, man. Things are great here in Texas. We're happy.
I love Texas. Like I love Texas. One of my best friends is from Houston, from H-Town. Another one of my best friends, he's from Austin, and he's probably gonna be moving back. And then a lot of my friends are moving down to Texas. I'm gonna be ironically, I'm gonna be the Lone Ranger.
The only thing is, though, is I've seen this. I think it was a bumper sticker or something. It says, "Don't California my Texas." That's the only thing. So maybe we could create a new kind of culture with everybody coming in. It could be a.
With my luck, by the time I move down there, you guys are gonna start like taxing the shit out of people.
Don't bring that juju, Rico. No, man. Come on, stay positive. Stay positive.
I'm a realist.
Hey, I'm totally down. I'm totally down to be on your podcast, man.
Please.
Yeah, so let's do it, and I want to run it back with you. So we'll be in touch, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna start shooting you information like on everything we're doing. Much love to you. Good luck as you continue to grow your shit. And I'm an open book. I'm going to be hitting you up with my personal information too. Feel free to hit me up anytime, and just keep your eyes open, man. And remember, when life gives you no place else to turn, you can always turn up.
And with that, we are gonna end it. Thanks for listening, guys. This was fun.
Yeah, always, brother. Much love to you.
Much love.
All right.